So, I was recently asked if I had a list of games that I thought felt the most alive. And while I didn't, I thought it was a great idea for a video. So, I came up with about 6 games that I think have the most natural, organic feeling worlds. Enjoy! Starting off with an obvious pick, which is Fields of Mistria. Fields of Mistria takes place in a cute little town that is recovering from an earthquake, and you're tasked with rebuilding it. What starts off as a cozy setup quickly turns into a detailed, ever-evolving world filled with such lively characters, community events, and a growing list of things to do. Early on, I was struck by how social the game was. NPCs have fresh dialogue every single day, they comment on the weather, my progress, and they even do things like have a weekly pub gathering. And these weren't just filler conversations. People played cards, they debated over D&D, and even got a little tipsy, making for some really funny interactions. The town itself developed along with me, repairing the bridge reopened the markets, fixing the general store gave me access to new goods, and of course reopening the mines, which added combat and some new mechanics like jumping over trenches. Plus, the town's ranking system meant that every little bit of effort, whether it was fishing, bug catching, farming, or exploring, felt well worth the effort. And just when I thought I'd seen it all, the game threw magic into the mix. A guardian dragon granted me spells from stamina restoration to instant growth crop, adding a completely new element into the game. Between breeding animals with unique colour variations, shaping my farm to how I liked it, and witnessing the town's evolution, Fields of Mistria never felt static. Every week brought something new, and that's what made it feel so engaging and so lively. Next up is what I think is the most underrated game of the century, and it's up there with some of my favourites. Behind the Horizon is a farming RPG, but not only that, it's also a nature simulator where the world grows, changes, and reacts in real time. You start off as a traveller who stumbles into a mysterious new world, and you're basically tasked with fitting into your new home and uncovering the world's secrets. Farming in Behind the Horizon goes beyond just watering crops. Sunlight, soil nutrients, and even weather patterns determine how your farm thrives. Trees grow old and die, storms reshape the land, and biomes shift over time. It's incredibly detailed and even a bit tough to get the hang of, but it's so rewarding once you figure it out. Meanwhile, the local town called Woodhome is just full of NPCs with their own farms, routines, and side quests that they offer, giving the game a really immersive feeling. Beyond farming, there's also magic, dungeons, and combat. Spells can aid in farming and battle, and dungeon exploration is packed with some really rewarding loot. Progression feels really fair, and NPC relationships are meaningful, with befriending villagers earning you some very useful gifts. The game has quite a unique art style that I came to really love, and that, along with the sound design, just brought together a world that I thought was very similar to Stardew in terms of content, depth, and passion. Seriously though, if there's anything that I would want to compare Stardew with in terms of those 3 things, it's Behind the Horizon. To top it all off, it has a very active, passionate solo developer who provides frequent updates and DLC. I've had the opportunity to play one of those DLCs so far, and for the price, the level of content it adds to the original game is amazing. Behind the Horizon is seriously such an indie gem. Next up is The Good Life, which is a crazy mix of life sim, RPG, and mystery adventure. You'll play as Naomi, a debt-ridden New York photographer set to Rainy Woods, the happiest town on earth, to uncover its secrets. But things get really weird really fast. The townsfolk turn into cats and dogs, you gain the same ability, and you soon find yourself tangled in a murder mystery. Gameplay is this blend of exploration, quests, photography, and even some light farming. Rainy Woods is full of quirky characters and side quests, some really funny, and some are just really strange. You can have a drinking contest with the local vicar. You can urinate to guide an old man to the doctor. This game has everything. And yeah, the game sounds quite far from having an organic kind of world, but that's so far from the truth. The world feels really alive with NPCs following daily schedules. There's lots of shops to visit and purchase from as well. Hotels, pubs, farms, and cemeteries litter this world, and they all have frequent visitors as well. And there's also a large countryside to explore. If you love life sims with a really strong story, some good humor, and an open world to explore, then this one is so worth checking out. Following this is Kynseed, a life sim adventure RPG where you don't just play as one character, you'll build a multi-generational legacy. You start off as a 13-year-old, but after striking a deal, you gain immortality. This will fast forward you to adulthood, where you inherit your uncle's farm and begin a life of exploration, business management, and family building. This world is massive and it feels so alive. There's NPCs who will go off on their own, they'll marry, have kids, and pass away, all while you're living your own story. The game encourages explorations with hidden things to find, there's events and so many opportunities to discover. You can own and run your own shops, craft items through mini games, and build relationships where you can marry and have children who you'll end up continuing your legacy with. There's lots of quests, from fetch quests and rescue missions. The game's got a super rich culture system where you can make offerings to goddesses for blessing or even get cursed, like you can even accidentally turn your kid into a frog. The pixel art and soundtrack just make it feel so immersive, and there's weather systems and region-specific music. It's just so detailed, and it's such a good game. Wylde Flowers is another great pick for this list. It's a cute life sim with a magical twist, blending farming and witchcraft into a cozy experience. You'll play as Tara, who moves to Fairhaven to help her grandmother's farm, only to discover she comes from a lineage of witches. So by day you'll farm, fish, mine, and befriend the people, but by night you'll secretly meet with your coven, you'll brew potions and cast spells that can affect the world around you. The town itself feels alive with residents who follow daily schedules, form relationships, and have rich backstories that unfold as you interact with them. Shops have set hours, people gather for hobbies, and every character is fully voice acted. This one is actually even available on mobile, which I played through the full game and had no issues with, so it's a really easy way for anyone to pick this game up. Last but not least, Sunnyside. A heartbreaker for sure, but still a great game, and one that fits in this list really well. Sunnyside is so insanely close to being my dream farming life sim game. It's an open world experience set in a Japanese rural town. You can freely walk through the countryside, visit shops, take a bus into the city for some clothes shopping, and even ride your bike around town. The immersion is top tier, with dynamic weather, cozy shrines and parks to visit, and just a living, breathing world filled with so many places to explore. Farming is also really good. It's got really realistic mechanics with seasonal crops and animals you can care for in really detailed ways, such as building the chicken coop from scratch, and then you can open up the side hatch to collect eggs and then replace hay inside the coop daily. You can even take your dog for a walk if you decide to get one, and it just makes you really feel like you're in the world rather than just playing a game. This is by far the most realistic yet enjoyable game I've played. It's pretty much as realistic as it can get without being horribly realistic. And the town setting is just perfect, and the world feels so full and alive. Now, as I said, it's a heartbreaker. It's full of glitches, and the mining system is this big, horrible aspect that barely fits in. But this all comes down to issues between the developers and publishers, unfortunately, that kind of halted further changes that the devs were wanting. So it's a bit of a sad story, but the passion that they have for this game is still really present, and it's still amazing what they ended up coming up with despite all that stuff that happened. So still a great game. I still really recommend playing it, but be prepared to get maybe a little frustrated at times. So there you go. I hope you find something great to play from this list, and thank you to the person who recommended I do this video. If you did like this video, let me know and I can do a part 2. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.